Hey friends. I didn't take the boat out today. Can't do that every morning for my video post. But I am on the boat again. I woke up this morning and it turned out my sister, she'd had a little injury yesterday and it was really hurting her this morning. It looks like it was not serious or problematic, but it was just painful. And so she had just a cut on her foot, and so I kind of helped her clean it, bandage it. I think it's going to be fine. But that was it. That was in the context of me also observing in my daughter during this time of like such a huge family gathering. If you haven't followed my last couple of posts, I've got a giant group of people up here, family members, chosen family, and it's our first time being together like this since Annalise was born. And it's always a hugely celebratory vibe. It's always a big deal whenever we get together. And the main, what I'm tracking more and more, and I spoke about this yesterday, I believe, but what I continue to observe over the years, we've now been doing this, in this kind of like uniting every couple of years. What I've observed is that it's a deeply healing time. It's sort of challenging sometimes. Just the level of energy that is kind of required can be formidable. And I think that, again, this is my first time being at one of these events where I've had a child in the mix, which of course completely changes your whole priorities and the way I use my time, the way I invest my energy, where my focus is. Everything is completely different. I'm also the only parent here right now because my wife is not here. She's showing up tomorrow. But what is emerging for me is a sense that my intention around this time is really about healing. And I think when we variously speak at times throughout these gatherings, there's a birthday this time, there's always a pretext for sharing with each other what this all means to us. And I think that's what I'm recognizing for myself. I'm recognizing it as I say it now. Because I've known that these times are about healing. I've known that for me, this is a healing time. It's kind of like, it's a little bit like a creative project. I've always had the feeling that some of my deepest psychic, soul level work and ultimately healing has happened in creative projects and in events like these because we find ourselves in relationship to other people. Our contours and edges kind of bump up against each other, and you see yourself in a new way. It's impossible not to. I mean, it's possible not to. You can avoid it. You can look away. But if you're there to pay attention, then it's just a very rich and very high resolution mirror. My daughter might have just woken up. And I think what I'm recognizing for myself is that I want to bring that consciously, that healing process, and the awareness that that's what we're doing is something that I can bring out consciously. I don't know. I suspect that I'm not the only person who thinks of it this way, but anytime we're in a group, there's a kind of intentionality. Oh. And it's kind of like a hierarchy or a set of denominators. And you got to bring the highest common denominator to the table. Somebody's got to do that. And of course, everyone in a group of people is ultimately responsible for that. But I've also found that all it takes is one person to bring a deep intention to a group, and that can transform the interaction. And I think I'm clocking for myself my vision of what this process is about, this time is about, and wanting to be really intentional about it. Not wanting to be so kind of swept away in the celebration of it that the deeper purpose that actually forms the foundation of the connection that creates the celebration, that becomes sort of either taken for granted or left off to the side in some way. Which I don't know that that's happening, but I think what I'm tracking is my own role here, my own ability to bring something, and I'm giving myself a bit of I'm challenging myself to bring it to the table, to actually really show up with that. Because it's not always easy. There's a certain amount of vulnerability there. There's a certain amount of hoping that we all that a certain need to bring my own courage to the table. So I'm saying this out loud for myself for that reason, to bring myself to an awareness of it. It's a beautiful time. I'm glad that I'm seeing this. I'm glad that I'm consciously tracking in the moment, in the period, what this is about, because then I can get truly intentional about it. I think that may also be a key to my deeper life. Before this big family gathering happened, I was already on a process here at Crystal Lake of my own intentions, my own trajectory changing. So this is just a kind of amplification of that, clarification of that. It's about healing. It's kind of all about healing. That's where I'm at today, folks. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Much love. I'll see you soon.